I recently decided to start learning how to reality shift, and I wanted to share a few things that I learned because I tend to approach things differently than the mainstream. I don't really do the subliminals and methods only approach. I do listen to subliminals because I figure it can't hurt, but the main thing for me is to erase attachment and resistance. You want to get rid of all of the different warring parts of yourself that's going to get in the way. I knew this was happening with me because whenever I sat down to attempt reality shifting, I would toss and turn all night and wake up 100 times. And when I did wake up in the middle of the night, I was so out of it, like more out of it than usual when you wake up in the middle of the night. And I asked my guides, why is this happening? And they told me it was because there was a bunch of different parts of me that were at odds with the decision. For example, I would always get this part of me that says, well, what if it doesn't work? And I'm just like, but what if it does? Don't be such a killjoy. But you have to, like, actually communicate with these parts because they're not going to be ignored. And you can just kind of ask yourself, like, address whatever emotion is coming up and ask yourself, why do you feel this way? And you will get an answer. You can have, like, a little dialogue with yourself. Even if you feel silly doing it, just do it, it works. One thing that would come up for me a lot, I don't know why I said a lot, it came up once. There was a part of me that was scared about it, and I asked, like, why are you scared? And she said, like, what if we end up somewhere scary? And what if it's just an overall horrible experience? We just end up in, like, this void space, and there's demons everywhere. And this is coming from my past of being constantly haunted by negative entities. So I, like, channeled a guide, and I was like, yeah, how about this? What if we end up somewhere scary? And the answer was, like, if there were a case where you would end up shifting somewhere randomly, it would be, you would end up where you were aligned to. So if you were in a very bad spot emotionally, bad headspace, you're being attacked by negative entities a lot, and you're just have a really negative attitude, that's where you would end up shifting to somewhere dark, somewhere that's aligned with that headspace. But if you're all good to go, I mean, you're not, and you shift somewhere random, it's going to be with whatever you're aligned with in this reality. So, a way to counteract this is to clear your energy, put up psychic barriers, and consciously align with light. And you can just say it in your head, being like, I clear my energy, I cut cords, I align with light, and whatever. I mean, there's different ways to do it, whatever works best for you. I like to do this, well, before a shifting attempt, for one, and before going to bed in case I shift in my sleep. It's just good to do anyway, just clear your energy from the day. It's nice, energetic hygiene. Another vital perspective for me is to look at shifting like a practice. Well, first I release attachment, and then I look at it like a practice, because I used to think of it as like my higher self or my guides would block me from it because it was off my path and it was distracting from other lessons I was learning and things like that. Then I realized, like, no, this is my ability. Nobody is barring me. Nobody is going to be the one who bestows it to me and makes it happen for me. I have to make it happen for me. I have to learn how to do it. And, yeah, I just take it one step at a time. I sit down for a few minutes every day and I channel some info, see what comes through, listen to subliminals while I do it, because it can't hurt. And the reason you want to release attachment is because attachment often comes with resistance. So for example, if you desperately wanted to shift because you wanted to escape from this reality because you were having a lot of stress and you were very overwhelmed, first of all, you'd be aligned to that, and that's where you would accidentally end up shifting, remember. But if you are feeling like you need to escape, it's because you're focusing on your pain. That's just how it works. So if you run through the scenario in your head and say, what if it doesn't happen? And you kind of just become okay with that. Realize, like, I wouldn't be any worse off than where I am. It's all fine if it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean anything about me personally. Maybe I just need to wait a little while or something like that. You just kind of let go, don't need it. I like the perspective of, it's like preparing food before you get hungry. So it's like if I'm taking my time learning the skill while I'm not itching to shift, then when I am itching to shift, it'll be easy because I already know how to do it. One more practical thing is just when you are laying down the shift, make sure you're comfortable. If you're too cold, too hot, your knees are locked and it starts to hurt after a while, that's going to keep you rooted in your body because you're going to be focused on that discomfort. So if you make sure you're all comfortable before you go ahead, it's easier for your body to sleep. It's already uncomfortable when you're conscious and your body's falling asleep, so just get yourself as comfortable as possible. What seems to work consistently is just laying on my back with a pillow under my knees, for the most part. But whatever works for you, go for it. If you have questions, you can ask your guides, although if you're not experienced in talking to guides, maybe don't do that. It depends on where you are. If you are in a bad place and you don't know what you're doing, you're probably going to end up talking to demons, and I'm just warning you because that's what I did when I was a young psychic and had no idea what I was doing. I got tricked a lot, and it was more trouble than it's worth. So you can trust your intuition as well. I like talking to guides. It's fun. Yesterday I was channeling some guides about this, and it was actually interesting. They were asking me questions to see if there was still resistance within me, and not only that, but to see if I was ready for a next step that they could help me with. Oh yeah, they were saying to stay on your guard, stay guarded. And I was like, that's not usual. They don't usually say things like that. I was like, are you trying to scare me? And they're like, yes, partly, because if that would have brought up fear, then that would show me that there was still a bit of resistance that I need to address. And also, they did this cool thing, but they told me to visualize being on a beach, and I was like, okay, I don't see where this is going, but sure, we'll do it. And I got kind of immersed in the scene, and I felt the sand and smelled the salt air and heard the breeze and waves and all that sort of thing. And then a guide appeared. He was cool. He's like an alien dude. He was all blue and he had kind of like stripes on him. And he started drawing on me with like this blue pen looking thing. And I was asking about it, and as I kind of zoomed out, I could actually feel the pens in my skin, by the way, and I realized there was like a bunch of them and they were drawing all over my body. And he said he was activating like energy lines. They were like loosening my energy body from my physical body, like detaching it a little bit so it's not so locked in. It would be easier for me to slip out of my body. And it was more, I don't know, it was interesting. He said it was more like a wand than a pen. It was kind of more intentional. I don't know, it was interesting. It was kind of hard for him to explain because there's a lot of things that I didn't know about what he was doing. But it's pretty cool, yeah. They drew all over my entire body with these lines, and I could feel my spirit or whatever. It felt looser. It didn't feel so rooted and heavy. Alright, so to review, detach, work through all your resistance, be comfortable, keep your energy clean and aligned with the light. And that's a good foundation to start actually practicing shifting. It's going to give you a lot clearer of a road. Look at it as a practice. There's no rush. If you have any questions in the comments, I will channel the answers, and I will get back to you with whatever else I learn down the line. Hopefully this wasn't too rambly. The last one I recorded was very rambly. And hopefully it helps. Let me know if it does. Alright, see ya.